nephew Brooks gave Uncle Weston a little kiss. We got a great video of it. It was great.
Oh, fun. Very fun.
Looks like a good meeting tonight. Maybe we finish early.
It looks.
Oh, no, Marcus, I have a long list of things I'm going to talk about for sure.
I'm sure you do.
All right, we are live streaming. Not that we shouldn't keep talking about Brett's birthday, but just saying.
Hey, Kelly, give me a co-host ability so I can silence Mary.
Oh,
Okay.
I can watch Mary. Let me let Troy in. All right, I think,
We're just missing Gary.
yeah.
The more I do these meetings, the more I wonder if I ever want to see you guys in person again.
Touche.
Well, I'm sure Gary will be along here. Let's go ahead and start the meeting. Did we get him? Okay.
Not yet. I just brought Robert Nolan because
Okay. Let's go ahead and start. This is going to be a Lake Stevens City Council regular meeting. This meeting is going to be via Zoom. It is also being live streamed on YouTube, and you can sit down at your leisure later on and watch it on YouTube if you wish, as it will be recorded there. It's Tuesday, April 27th, a great day of 2021, and it is 6 p.m. And with that, I'll call this meeting to order, and I will ask everyone to stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, great. City Clerk Chellen, can you give me a roll call, please?
I can. Councilmember Daughtry,
Here,
Councilmember Peter Shagan. Still don't see him. Councilmember Frederick,
Here.
Councilmember Dickinson,
Present.
Councilmember Jorstad,
Here.
Councilmember Ewing,
Present.
Councilmember Tagent.
Present.
All right, excellent. And Council President, or can we get an excuse for Councilmember Peter Shagan?
I'll make a motion to excuse Councilmember Peter Sagan. I don't know why he's not here because he was just on a call 30 minutes ago.
Second motion.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. Can I get a vote?
aye.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And any man,
50, really? 50?
I know.
That's
50.
it?
It's totally hitting me right in the face. Any opposed? All right, hearing none opposed, motion passes for excuse of Councilmember Peter Shagan.
He is joining right now.
Okay. Perfect.
It's too late. We already excused him.
Yeah, he doesn't even
Right,
have to
maybe
show up if he doesn't
Yeah,
want to.
now he doesn't even need to show up.
Who's going to break the news to him?
I'll break
You
it.
can go ahead, Angie. Go ahead.
All right, I'll do it.
Oh, go ahead, Angie.
Councilmember Peter Sagan,
Yes.
you've been excused. If you would rather just go ahead and hang up, you're welcome to do so. Just joking. Welcome.
It was
to-
unanimous.
Okay, council, is there anybody that has anything they want to change on the agenda?
I move that we accept the agenda as submitted.
Second.
Thank you. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Mr. Mayor, you have an agenda.
Excellent. Appreciate it. Thank you very much. Okay, we're going to move into citizens' comments. And the way we do citizens' comments on Zoom is we will look at the folks in the attendees section and look for hands raised. We will do 3-minute citizens' comments. And if you raise your hand, we'll bring you into the panelist area. And once you're brought in, just do a mic check. And then you'll have 3 minutes if you would say your name and your address. And with that, is there anyone in the attendees area that would like to do citizens' comments tonight? I'll ask again, is there anyone in the attendees area that would like to do citizens' comments tonight? Please raise your hand. Okay, City Clerk, are you seeing any hands raised?
I am not.
Okay, nor do I. So with that, we'll go ahead and close citizens' comments and we'll go to council business. Council President.
Thank you. Let's see. We'll go with Gary Petersagen.
First up, yes, I'm here in attendance. I apologize for being late. Tried to grab a quick bite to eat. Anyway, we had a utility committee meeting today with the Lake Stevens Sewer District, and it's unfortunate, but I think we kind of circle back always to this fundamental difference of interpretation of our unification agreement, which tends to cause more bumps than smooth waters. So I'll let Councilmember Tangent expand on that, but we're increasingly finding that the involvement of the utility committee is not being prioritized. I'm trying to say that as politically correct as possible. And it is making for difficult discussions. So hopefully we can move forward with some other avenues, I guess, and hopefully get this issue of unification to conclusion. With that, also had some ongoing negotiations regarding the city of Everett and their water line situation. We received a response from them that I'll share a little bit later, but not real favorable. And so we're continuing optimistically to try to work through some issues and get some favorable avenues to move forward with development along that corridor. So ongoing operations, I guess, or negotiations. So that's all I have at this point. Thank you.
Thank you. And Councilmember Marcus Tangent.
Yes, thank you. Once again, was at the Sewer Utility Committee meeting today. I think I came out of the meeting a little frustrated. Share some thoughts. I had it is the Sewer Utility Committee was set up so that way we have 3 members of the city, 3 members of the sewer. So that way we could discuss sewer in the ongoings of the sewer district and then have meeting of the minds, hopefully most of the time. But if we didn't have meeting of the minds, then the issues where we didn't meet, we would go to arbitration and have someone help us work through those things. We've been working with the sewer district for, I don't know, 5-6 years. Been on the committee for maybe way too long. I don't know, but through John Spencer's time, certainly through Brett's time. And the goal is we're trying to look at ways to save the community money. We're looking at ways to bring 2 government entities together to hopefully save funds. A good example is we were all kind of very happy today because we have a Decamp facility, which the sewer district had a really high price tag on. Between the 2 of us, we were bringing it in significantly at a lower price, and it's a real win. And the city really believes that, A, we want to help control the destiny of where we put sewers in the community and hopefully save the taxpayers' funds, money. Today, as we've been working through some legal battles to try to unify, and bring our position that we feel we've got there. The sewer district has been making a lot of decisions, and they don't take what's written in the utility agreement committee or the utility agreement into any kind of significance. So we've been frustrated and trying to move forward with that. Well, today we have two of the highest paid members of the sewer district, and Commissioner Koshi brought up that he'd like to give them a year-long severance package should they get fired without cause. It seems to me really excessive. When we talk about funds paid to for the government, they keep talking about trying to save funds and do things. A year-long severance seems really, really excessive and out of the ordinary for this. As a committee, we brought up the frustration with that. We're supposed to be watching out for the ratepayers. That's why we're trying to unify and save money, just like we did with the Decamp facility. I think this should be going through a vote through the committee. And I'm not going to talk about qualifications of the people that are there or anything. All I'm saying is that on the surface, just seems like it's not good for the ratepayer. It's not good for our community, for a group of 3 individuals to decide to give someone a year-long severance when in government contracts, that's extremely, extremely rare, if at all, out there at all. So they said that they would like to chat, and we asked them if we could bring that through Gene so that we can vet it a little bit through our process. But if it goes anything like it has in the past, they always vote it through without the utility committee meeting on the minds or going through arbitration on it. And this is these are 2 key personnel decisions. And this is totally within the utility commission contract that we're supposed to have a voice at the table. That would be myself, Brett, and Gary as your liaisons through that. So I want to bring that to your attention. It's something the community needs to know. It's something that we all need to be concerned about when we're talking about hundreds of thousands of dollars. So I bring that up as just for food for thought, something I think our community should know, and something that we've got to keep our eye on to make sure that we're watching out for the ratepayers' money. So that is a meeting I was in on today.
Okay, thank you. Mary?
Yes, thank you. So first of all, I want to thank Kiwanis Club for doing a grade road cleanup. It was always great to see service clubs step forth and try and help our city. Second of all, I have a huge shout out to John Lubbock and Representative Lubbock and Representative Berg and all the legislature who have passed a bill in their budget that gives Lake Stevens for our Civic Center $5-point-something million. And the library is very excited about that. So thank you to our representatives across the board for that. Then I wanted just to say one other thank you, and that is to our city staff. We have the most amazing city staff, and anyone that's listening here needs to know that. We are so fortunate. These people care a lot about our community, every single one of them. And so when we talked about the fact that having an equity commission of some kind would put burden on our city staff, all I could think was, you know what, our city staff is already working so hard for our city, and this would be totally the right thing for them to do to lift up everybody across the board in our city. I think it's a total fit, and I just hope we will talk about it again later on. I know it's not on the agenda tonight, but I want everybody to know what a great city staff we have. And I can't shout out names because I'd be here all night. See that? I did that for you, Marcus. I didn't say all the names, but they are amazing. And please, let's keep that in mind. I think they'll have no problem turning over a little extra work to help reach out to all of our community. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Angie?
Thank you, President Daughtry. I wanted to make sure to announce in this meeting, and then I'm hoping maybe we could put something on the city website. We received an email from the Department of Emergency Management today that there are hundreds and hundreds of vaccination appointments available. So I want to make sure that folks know that we're finally at a point where the supply has met and now is exceeding demand a bit. So please go to your health district website. We'll see if we can get a link maybe put on our city site, but for folks that are looking for vaccinations, or if you know someone in your neighborhood who's vulnerable and struggling with that process, I think the process has got a little easier and vaccinations are now easier to access. So I want to make sure folks know that tide is turned a bit in our community. Just to piggyback on Mary's comments, thank you. I would like to ask that the DEI and A Commission conversation be added, if it isn't already, be added to the workshop agenda for next week. I think it's a conversation that our council needs to have, and we need to make a decision about how best to move forward. So look forward to talking about that next Tuesday. Thanks, that's all I have.
Okay, thank you. Steve.
No comments.
Okay, and Sean.
Thank you, sir. I do really want to quickly echo Mary's comments about gratitude for the $5 million that's in the biennium budget that will benefit us here in Lake Stevens. That's really important work that our representatives do for us, and I want to acknowledge that. I also want to share it is thousands of appointments available. So please, if you have not been vaccinated, there is ample opportunity across the board at any one of the sites that are there. The numbers are going in the wrong direction. There is still time to act. The next time the governor makes a decision on whether or not counties will roll back through the phases is May 3rd. But I want to go back. I want to circle all the way back to Marcus. I actually tried to speak up and ask a question then about the utility board and the proposal. And my question is whether or not there were any sort of supporting, what were the supporting justifications? Were there any comparables or anything to go along with the 12-month severance package?
Not that was being proposed at the time. The committee did ask that we could have our Gene Brazel consult with them and try to look at comparables, but it was just something that was brought up. And unfortunately, usually when this gets brought up, it gets passed at the next meeting without going through the utility committee, which is in 3 short months from now. So it's something that we could look at 3 months, 6 months. Right now, the director is an interim who, you know, for the sake of saying is it seems like an excessive thing, but hopefully we can continue to work through this, put minds together, put people like Gene Brazel and other people together who look at compensation packages, and you know, maybe we find some reasonable difference in the middle there. It seems really excessive to me, and I hope that the sewer district will cooperate and work with our city staff, and because ultimately we do inherit all their contracts when we do merge. So that's something we'd be watching out for our budget and how we work this through too. So hopefully that answers your question.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
I don't know if the mayor or anyone else wanted to answer that question if I didn't do so correctly.
No, I think you said it well, Marcus. It was merely brought up today as a this is what we're looking at doing type thing. If you have any comments, express them. And I do believe, as Marcus stated, it will probably be taken forth by the commissioners in the next couple of weeks without further involvement from the city. So two important positions. The ramifications are, as Marcus indicated, hundreds of thousands of dollars potentially. So it is a concern.
Okay, thank you. Did I miss anybody besides myself and the mayor? I don't think I did. Okay, so my report, I don't really have much. The Youth Advisory Council continues to roll on. We have another meeting tomorrow night, and they seem to be getting everything together to move forward, and we will have I don't see any of them with us. Oh no, Rachel O'Malley is here tonight from the Youth Advisory Council. So welcome to her. I'm glad she's here. And what else? No, I don't remember what else I was going to talk about. Marcus.
I also, sorry, talkative tonight. I try not to be too much. Part of that budget, I want to mention Steve Levy is really an important part of us getting funds. He's a great asset to us down there in Olympia. He's working really hard, gets the information, is really timely. He's very astute and make sure the city's aware of all the time. He gives us legislative updates all the time. And I really want to say it's an investment that we do. But without him, I don't think we would see the same result. I think we have great legislators and people in our district, and I can't say enough about, everyone that's been doing a job, but Steve really is behind the scenes doing a lot of work. And I know every year we look at why we have Steve Levy down there and his team. I just say this is part of the reason why we have him down there. He does a lot of hard work behind the scenes, and a lot of times probably doesn't get the praise he deserves. But part of the reason I think we get these results is he's right on board, letting us know the grants, letting them know how we can relate to those grants and how we get them, and putting our agenda forward for everybody. And the results have been really awesome compared to what we used to get, I don't know, before we had him. Kim, I don't know how long it's been, 12 years now. We never saw these kind of results. And ever since we've had him on board, he's been doing a phenomenal job for us, not only here, but in Washington, D.C. as well. So just want to give a shout out to that and let everyone know how important he is for getting grants. And he's been worth his weight in gold to me. So thank you.
Okay, Mr. Mayor.
All right, great comments by everybody. I would like to echo Councilmember Tagent's words on Levy. There's a lot of work that he does that not everybody sees. I'm up early in the morning, and he and I are usually swapping text messages and emails 5:30, 5 o'clock in the morning, and he's keeping our city coordinated and in the right place to receive some great funds back. And when I look at what his work is, our citizens send a lot of our tax dollars to Olympia. And it's our goal and his goal to get as much of that back as we can. And I think that he does an excellent job at it. And I appreciate his work. To echo Councilmember Jorstad's words, I did forward to Dawn earlier Jason Bierman's request to put information out about the vaccine. So she will be putting together, if she hasn't done it already, something for the website and for social media to make sure that folks that want to get vaccinated can have that opportunity to do so and do so quickly. I have been meeting with the Allies of BIPOC folks, and we do have an additional meeting coming up on Thursday to continue to talk about what that looks like, the relationship with the city. And yes, that is going to be on a workshop. Was it next week or the next week? I can't remember, Kelly. Was it next week?
Sorry, I don't have it in front of me. It was next week or the 11th, but it may be next week.
Yeah, I
think we're still waiting to hear back.
But it is on the workshop. One of the things I want to do is make sure we hashed out between them how this looks and how we go forward with it. I did attend today the opening of the Decamp facility. What a great facility. And I'll tell you what was really fun about it is our city and our sewer employees who were there learning how to use the facility. And it was just like little kids at Christmas, that they have this new facility that's something that they haven't had in the past, that will be a way to properly dispose of the products that facility takes. And what was also really fun to watch was their ability to realize that they could clean their equipment properly as well, something that hasn't been happening. And so it was really fun to watch them and see them realize the value in the Decamp facility. So I appreciate the city council in supporting that endeavor, as well as the sewer district. I'm going to go ahead and echo the comments of Councilmember Tagent and Councilmember Peter Shagan. The assumption of the sewer district by the city, the main goal of that is to save money. And so when we start getting into long legal procedures, that those savings dissipate, and it's unfortunate. And then what we've seen since the announcement of that assumption is some pretty big decisions made by the commissioners of the sewer board, and it's frustrating. When we throw out a need to provide 12 months of severance pay for management, something not even spoken of before the talk of an assumption, it just seems like it's almost punitive in its manner, and it's upsetting. So I just don't understand the thinking on that, and hopefully they'll make a better decision when they do take this forward and realize that ultimately it's the ratepayers who have to pay that money, and it doesn't go towards services. So those are my thoughts on that. We need to continue on with the assumption it's the right thing to do, and we will, to try to save ratepayers and taxpayers, who are the same people, money in the end. So, all right, with that, I think we're going to get a quick brief from Russ on the capital projects money, just so we all understand what we did receive. Russ.
Okay, good evening, Council. You've already heard and talked about that we did really well this year in the capital session. I did want to just run over some of the big projects for the city. The biggest one is the city did get $2.1 million for the Festival Street. So that'll go to phase 3 of our downtown project and finish out North Cove Park. So that's really exciting that we have those funds available to keep moving downtown forward. We also did really well on some of our multimodal transportation projects. The next phase of the South Lake Stevens Trail was funded, as was the connector we've been talking about from downtown to the Centennial Trail for quite some time. And then money was put into Main Street, 20th Street improvements, and coupling that with money we've received from PSRC and some developer contributions, we'll be able to build out that project in the next couple of years. Other parts of the transportation funding package, even though we did well, all of those projects are kicked out till 2022 because there wasn't a resolution on a funding strategy. But as far as spending priorities, those have been held in the budget. So we've done really well, and then we're going to try to couple that with some federal earmarks that are going to be available this year so we can keep our projects moving forward. And then just lots of other legislation of every variety went through this year. So you're right, our lobbyist does a lot of good work, and it's a good team that we have representing the city and seeing results. And then I also wanted to share that the public hearing with the county council will be tomorrow morning at 10:30 for the annexation, and hopefully they will make a decision, and then the council can decide what its next steps are. Thank you.
Excellent, Russ. Thank you for that. And then I see we have Troy on the agenda. Troy, did you have something for the council tonight?
No, I don't actually.
Okay. All right. Then we will move forward to guest business, and let's go ahead. Eric, are you running with this new employee introduction?
So I'm going to apologize ahead of time. My internet's a little sketchy. It seems like we've been cutting in and out, but it's my honor tonight to introduce Travis Wright. Maybe you can wave, Travis. Travis Wright is the new Public Works Inspector. He took Monty Irvin's role when Monty retired. Travis has lived in Lake Stevens for 19 years. He has a fiance named Rondi, and their hobbies are really just anything outdoors, camping, hiking, he comes to us with a ton of experience. His previous job was with D.R. Horton for the last 4 years as a site superintendent. He worked on a few projects here in Lake Stevens, but mostly he was down in the south end. But overall, Travis's experience is over 20 years of experience in commercial, residential, multifamily development arena. He's just great to have on the team. He's hit the ground running, already doing good things, and he's got a lot of new ideas coming from that developer side of things of how we can improve on the way we do things with our paperwork and our process. So really looking forward to having him on board. I will turn it over to Travis to say a couple words. He's got to unmute, Travis.
Yep, we're gonna. Good afternoon, everybody. City Council, Mr. Mayor, members of the public. I'd like to thank you for the opportunity to be here today. And as Eric said, I've spent the last several years working in construction management and building communities, and I'm looking forward to using that skill set for the betterment of our community and my hometown. So thank you.
Well, welcome, Travis. Welcome, Travis. Nice to see you. If we were in person, you would be having to go around through the gauntlet, but we're not in person. So there you go.
So I've heard.
Yeah.
Great, Travis. Great to have you on board. All right. So next is we're going to have a presentation by Robert Knoll, who's the Government Affairs Policy, Public Policy with Puget Sound Energy. So a couple months ago, I reached out to Robert. We have a project that we're working on, a possible future park, and some of the adjacent land to the area that we want to use is Puget Sound Energy land. So I reached out to Robert, and we've created a conversation over this possible park, and that created our relationship with Robert. And so as we were talking, I thought it would be a great opportunity for, as I didn't know a lot of the things that are happening around PSE, with PSE around the city. So I thought it would be a great opportunity for Robert to intro PSE to the city council and our community and let them know what PSE's got going on around Lake Stevens. Robert, you got the floor.
Awesome. Well, hey, thanks, Mayor, for that introduction. And just want to check so you guys can hear me. And then I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. I haven't done this on Zoom, so I'm going to hopefully pick the right monitor here. And so if someone can give me, Mayor, give a thumbs up for seeing that.
That looks good, Robert.
Awesome. Well, great. Yeah, so again, I'm Robert Knoll, and I've been with Puget Sound Energy about 1.5 years now. So just really looking forward to taking you through a little bit about what we do in Lake Stevens and beyond. I will say, even 1.5 years, with the utility industry, I think we're still considered very new at that point. So definitely want to take your questions, but can also, connect you with folks within the company if I can't answer them tonight. So, all right. So here's our agenda. Just going to take you through. We are an energy company. We provide our customers with electricity and natural gas. So we're very safety oriented. So I'll have a quick safety moment, kind of a general PSC overview, followed by natural gas, both overview on natural gas and then PSC in Lake Stevens, and then just a little bit of information that might be helpful for customers if you are interested in that. And I have set my timer. I'm hoping to keep this about 10 minutes. So I know we're virtual, so nobody has the the cane to pull me off stage, but Mayor, you'll let me know if I go over, okay? So, so obviously with natural gas, want to be mindful if you suspect a leak or if you smell natural gas. We odorize our natural gas actually as it comes into our distribution system so that you can smell it in the event of a leak. Definitely leave the area immediately. Don't do anything that might cause a spark, and call 911 or PSC. That's our 800 number there. Definitely for your own home, know the steps to take in the event of an earthquake, including your manual shutoff. And have your, it's a good idea to have your furnace inspected yearly for proper operation according to the manufacturer's recommendations. And then if your pilot light goes out, you can actually call Puget Sound Energy and we will send a tech out for free. So just a little bit, for our safety and preparedness resources, our service territory in Snohomish County is about 1,100 square miles. And it's all supported by our Everett operating base. So the responders from that base are actually our most, I've been told they're our most experienced crew within the company. We have 388 years of service combined with that crew. So, and then also just for city folk, for council members and the mayor, we have great information on our website. We actually have a new gas safety landing page that has great information for first responders. It also has our entire system restoration plan in the event of an incident. And then also always a good reminder, call 811 before you dig. The biggest cause of gas incident leaks are digging incidents. So, okay, and then just to go over a little bit, Puget Sound Energy is Washington's oldest energy utility. We provide electric service in Kitsap, Skagit, Thurston, Whatcom, and then parts of Island, King, Kittitas, and Pierce. We are headquartered in Bellevue with about 3,100 employees for a total of 1.1 million electric customers and 840,000 natural gas customers. So our gas service territory is not, it's not contiguous with the electric service territory. This map may be a little bit small for your screens, but you can see that we're, in central Puget Sound around those urban areas, and then as far south as Lewis, and then we also have Kittitas. Okay, did I skip one? No, I didn't. So then, just a little one-on-one on natural gas, and I apologize if this is, I know we probably have varying degrees of familiarity with this, but natural gas is primarily methane, which is CH4, and has smaller quantities of other hydrocarbons depending on the sourcing for that. Residential customers, the primary uses for natural gas are for residential and industrial heating, for commercial heating, for example, for businesses, industrial processes. And then on the other side, there's the electricity generation. So we have a natural gas fleet of generation assets that are the largest source for our generation on the electric side at PSC. And then increasingly transportation fuels. So the benefits, overall, the benefits for natural gas are really its efficiency. For example, if you look at natural gas furnaces, we're still seeing even new construction, especially multi-level single-family homes, still rely largely on natural gas furnaces. The energy efficiency of these has been ever increasing to the point that those can be up to 98% efficient. The other benefit versus any other hydrocarbon is that natural gas releases fewer emissions. It's a very clean burning fuel. Okay, and then a little bit of supply here. That picture is actually this is a zoomed out transmission system map. So all those blue lines are the various natural gas transmission. You can see really obviously concentrated towards the sourcing for these, which in the US is the mid-Rockies, the lower Midwest, Texas Gulf Coast. So you can see kind of how that works and then snakes its way up into the Pacific Northwest. The pipeline that is north-south in Washington State there is owned by Northwest Pipeline, and that is what transmits from Canada to us. So Puget Sound Energy actually started with gas lighting systems in 1873. So that is before, before the state of Washington. So that's Washington territory. And today we have the largest natural gas distribution system in the state. So as far as our supply portfolio, we manage a diversified gas portfolio to reduce financial risks, and that holds down our customers' rates. PSE also controls our gas supply costs by having significant gas storage in our large underground facilities. So that way we can withdraw gas in the winter when we have our peak need for home heating, for instance. All of the gas that we acquire is transported into our service territory through the large interstate pipelines that you can see on the map there. Once we take possession of the gas, it's distributed to our customers through our distribution system, which is 26,000 miles of PSE-owned gas mains and service lines. And as far as procurement, we control our costs by acquiring gas under contract, and this is from a variety of producers from the Western United States to Canada. In order to get the most favorable price, we will per term, long-term, short-term, and medium-term contracts, and the combined price that we pay is actually passed along at cost with no markup or profit for PSE. So another cost-saving measure is that we involve flexible gas transportation agreements with suppliers that enable us to selectively purchase gas from favorably priced locations. So we purchase actually 100% of the natural gas supplies that serve our customers. About half is from British Columbia, and the rest is from a combination of Alberta and the Rocky Mountain states. Okay. Now, so for delivery, this is where we come in. We own and operate the distribution mains that deliver natural gas to the local level. So for Lake Stevens, we actually branch off the interstate pipeline in Lake Stevens. So that goes to you and to the rest of our service territory. Let's see. Yeah, and then so I'm not sure how well you can all see this diagram. I got this off our website, and I'm realizing it's a little bit grainy. So, but this just shows you, from the sourcing to delivering to homes, business, and industry. So, number one here, you have the deposits brought to the surface. Number four, the compressors will control the pressure of the gas to be transmitted over long distances. Number five, there is, an example we have a facility we have. Ours is in Jackson Prairie in Lewis County, where we have large underground storage to be able to manage demand in the winter. And then eventually it reaches what's called a city gate station, where that is metered and then also odorized so that it is, can be detected in the event of a leak. And then it's distributed through our local gas mains and small diameter service lines, and ultimately to your meter in your house. So in Lake Stevens, we have about 8,700 customers total. You can see, so that's primarily residential users, which that tracks with the rest of the service territory. 251 commercial users, so those are your businesses, and that will range everyone from Safeway to Starbucks to independent coffee company. And I have actually been to Lake Stevens quite a bit. I don't know why it took me a second to think of which example to use there. So great. And then this is what I was talking about for the gate station. This actually shows you the north, so that's the northeast side of the lake. And then this is my little blue arrow around the gate station where we pull off the interstate pipeline. Forget the road intersection there. I did not get this from GIS in our GIS department. If you can, I'm sure you can imagine. Zooming in a little bit, you can see. So this is the Bonneville playfield. Then the I guess you probably, I'm not sure if you can see my pointer here. This is the Centennial Trail, and then PSC property right here, and you can actually make out that gate station. So this is the parcels, and I just wanted to draw this up. Just this is PSC property in blue in Lake Stevens. And then the easement for that interstate pipeline is actually directly adjacent, and then the city-owned property in red just to the north there. And that was what the mayor was talking about as far as kind of where we interface with your property there. And then it is so that's 16th Northeast, which is also the city limit there. So from this gate station, that feeds into our system in Lake Stevens. So natural gas enters there, is odorized, and that's about 300, we have about 300 miles of distribution main within the city of Lake Stevens and then to points beyond. Hey, I'm running just a little bit over, but I'm almost to the end here. So just a little overview, obviously with COVID, I know this has been a really tremendous time for cities and local government, but also for utilities. We've had a lot of our customers, a lot of our customers affected with bill payments, with the ability to pay their bills either because they've lost their job, they had hours decreased, or even if they were unable to work due to COVID. The company went to the UTC early on in March to get authorization for this program, for their crisis affected customer assistance program. So this would be what it is direct bill assistance, and including bill forgiveness for folks who were affected by the COVID crisis. Throughout this whole process, we have not been shutting off customers for non-payment. That's in law, but again, something that we elected to do even before that was the law. So this program in Snohomish County, it's a little bit different than on the electric side because we're gas service only. So it's been about $301,000 total dollars in Snohomish County for that kind of assistance. In addition, we've had direct community support, and this comes from both PSC corporate and as well as our PSC Foundation. There is going to be another round of competitive grants coming out from the foundation. So if anybody has any questions, or if any organizations that you think might benefit from that, this is a COVID specific competitive grant cycle. So for instance, for Dawson Place in Snohomish County, we were able to fund really robust upgrades to their HVAC system, and then also screening so that staff could continue to do their job even during mandatory shutdowns, and to have the folks that they serve as well as staff be safe. And then of course the Lake Stevens Food Bank, which we supported as well in December. And just to wrap up real quick, our carbon balance program is a really great program. We know a lot of our customers just are really focused on the environment, on carbon reduction, and want to be able to participate in that. And so on our in our gas service territory, we have our carbon balance program that is it's a third-party verified carbon offset that works to reduce and capture greenhouse gases. So this can be as little as $3 a month. I have it on mine, and it will help reduce emissions in the Northwest. And you basically put you purchase offset blocks for $3 each. And we found with average use, our average therms, our average natural gas customer can be carbon neutral for as little as $6 a month. And then finally, you know, energy efficiency for Puget Sound Energy, any electric utility, you know, Snowpud does a wonderful job of this as well. I don't know if you've ever seen them with their tables and the light bulbs that they hand out. And utilities really want to promote energy efficiency and actually invest in that directly with our customers. And we would rather invest that directly than, frankly, build new, you know, multi-year projects for generation assets. So it's really, we have a lot going on that side. Our website has a lot of information for customers, including how to get energy advisors to do home assessments, and that can be really helpful. Okay, and then that is my last slide. So I'm sorry, I'm a few minutes longer than I expected there, but again, really enjoyed being here and seeing some familiar faces. I really do look forward to coming back and seeing you guys in person and visiting Lake Stevens again. So I'm happy to take any questions if you have them.
Hey, Robert, appreciate the great information and getting us aware on what PSC is doing. I'd especially like to thank you for the work with Dawson's Place. If anyone doesn't know what Dawson's Place is, it's a great facility that does just I'm getting such a softie these days. Just does great work. I'll just say that. So
yeah.
With that, any council members? Gary.
Yes, Robert, thank you for your presentation. I appreciate that. A general question for you. With the recent activities at the state legislature and energy code issues and so forth, what's the future of natural gas for use as heating?
Yeah, that is a great question. We followed those bills closely. I think one we were referring to had to do with natural gas in new construction, for example, and looking at building codes. So yes, there is a really robust conversation going around this right now, and that bill was tabled pretty early on this year, to be frank. And I think part of it was to really go back to the table and have a broader discussion that includes stakeholders, including utilities, to really plan that future and plan our decarbonization future. So unfortunately, as I sit here now, I can't tell you exactly what that future looks like. I know that it is important. For us as a company, we feel very strongly in not decommissioning or pulling up our natural gas delivery system. There are emerging technologies such as renewable natural gas and hydrogen that can be input to that system to reduce the carbon intensity. And frankly, it remains important even in as we decarbonize the electric system, with the Clean Energy Transformation Act, as we look at that to continue to have balance to meet our customers' energy needs. So, for example, on a cold day in Seattle, for example, up to 2/3 of the energy load is being taken by our natural gas system, and that is obviously for majority for building heating, but it also remains crucial for industrial processes like aircraft manufacturing and a lot of the businesses that we have around Snohomish County. So I hope that was a bit of a filibuster answer, but I think it's really going to be a more long-term conversation. But again, PSC doesn't support decommissioning or banning our service.
That's great to hear. From a builder standpoint, we get into the discussion of affordable housing on a weekly basis, and gas heating is a major component of achieving that. If we are mandated to switch to all electric, we've got bigger affordability issues than we've ever seen. So I appreciate your work on that, and hopefully natural gas in the mix as far as an energy source for home heating. So thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other council members?
Thank you, Robert. We appreciate you being here. It's nice to see you again.
Absolutely. Yeah, take care, guys. Have a good night.
Hey, Robert, thanks for being here. All right, let's move to the next. So one of the things we're working on with Robert is that the pump park idea, and since their property is adjacent to our property, we think it's a good marriage of resources. So see where we go with it. All right, so can I get a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So moved.
Seconded.
Do I have any, I have a motion to approve the consent agenda. Do I have any discussion? Hearing no discussion, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Great. We pass the consent agenda, and we'll move to a public hearing, which is item J as in John. It's a 6-year transportation improvement plan. Grace, you are up.
Good evening, Council, Mayor, and general public. So Washington State requires our annual adoptions of a 6-year TIP. The TIP stands for Transportation Improvement Plan. And what I brought forth this evening is a list of projects that recommended by the council and the administration of the priority. And the list that's on the project that are on the list is basically, it's either we have partially funded or secured funded for upcoming year. Some of the project has dropped off from this list because they have been completed, such as the Callow drainage that was on the last adopted one, and 20th Street and Bat Lane. So some of the project got removed from the list because they were completed. And some got added because, like Russ has mentioned earlier, we got some fund, some are partially funded, some are projects that are priorities that we would like to seek more funding. So that's pretty much, that's what's on the list. So tonight we brought that list and also a hopefully a comment from the public, and then the adoptions of the resolution after the public hearing.
Okay, do we have any questions for staff?
Grace, is this also used as for the basis for traffic mitigation fees?
No, the traffic mitigation fee, it's from the development side, right? So, oh, you mean using the money that earned from the, yes, as a match. Yes. So that would be a lot of times when you apply for grant fund, it would require a city match. And we will be working with Russ and Eric and Barb in terms of what funding would be part of the city match. So yes.
Okay, great, thank you.
Councilmember Peter Shagan, maybe to answer your question, yes, we use the 6-year and the 20-year to establish what those impact fee credits are, right? So we take a total look at the projects, but not just the 6-year. We take a little longer look at it. You know, we look at the 20-year and the 6-year, and that's how we set the fees.
Great, thank you, Eric.
Yes.
Both sides of the balance sheet, in and out.
Eric, if you don't mind, Eric or Grace, both of you, doesn't matter who answers the question. What does it cost for 100 feet of sidewalk?
I know you were going to ask that. The old existing, like 2016 estimate was about 215 square yard, which is really, really low. The latest informal one that we did, this is totally just recall from Mary, about $400 a linear foot. It's probably continued to go up with the material cost. So,
$400 a lineal foot, and that's for what?
Or is it square foot? Can you help me? Or square yard, Eric? Do you remember?
I guess, Kim, to answer your question, it varies depending what you're asking for. Just to pour the concrete, it's relatively cheap, right? Like in the $20 a foot range. But if it's part of a large project and there's stormwater that goes with the sidewalk and curb and gutter, and so that's how we look at the actual projects, because they basically, when we do a sidewalk, it requires that we fix the drainage, we put in a curb and gutter, we have the planter strip, there's landscaping, there's street trees. And so that's why you see the number get so high. The portion of the sidewalk itself is relatively cheap. So like when we just go and do removal and replacement, we can do 100, I think it's like 120 feet for a 10-yard load. So we can do 100 feet for like $3,000, right? It's not overly expensive. It's all the other stuff that drives the cost up. So what Grace was referring to is we do a fee in lieu of, right, when developers come in and they're not required. We had set a cost of that at like $215 a lineal foot, but that isn't just for the concrete, that's the whole frontage, right? So if you had to install curb and gutter, patch the asphalt back, put the drainage in, put in the street trees, that's when we take a fee in lieu of, the cost is more in the 215. But what we found is that probably needs to go up, because that $215 a foot is no longer covering the actual cost, right?
Okay, so I guess another part of this question would be, is the sidewalk improvement extension projects on this TIP, is that equal to our sidewalk program?
That is our sidewalk program.
Okay, so $200,000 in the 6-year TIP doesn't really go all that far.
No, but it actually does. It's in our transportation plan, but that 200,000 is what we use in-house to go, like we've done in years past, actually rip out the trip hazards, the ones that trees have impacted the sidewalk, and pour them back. So I mean, we thousands of feet a year on that $200,000. I mean, up in the 2,000 to 3,000 lineal feet, right?
Okay.
But it's just tearing out the old, pouring the new. You don't have all those other improvements, right, that drive the cost up.
All right, thank you. I appreciate it.
Sorry, Grace. Go ahead.
Thank you.
Do you have any other questions for staff? If not, I'll go ahead and open up the floor for public comments from the audience at this time. Public comments just on this public hearing about the 6-year transportation improvement plan. Are there any comments from the audience reference this public hearing? If so, raise your hand. Looking in the attendees area, looking for a raised hand. I'll ask again, looking for public comments based solely on this public hearing of a 6-year transportation improvement plan. Looking for public raised hand. All right, I've got Robin McGee. Robin, let's bring Robin in. Okay, Robin, you're in the panelist now. You have 3 minutes. Go ahead, please.
Hi, yeah, Robin McGee, Lake Stevens resident. So I was looking over this, I think last night, and the one thing that jumped out at me was, I believe, and I don't have it in front of me, so I'd have to jump down and find it, but it was, I believe, $7.6 million for a roundabout, and I think some sidewalk changes or some such thing down at the corner of Main Street and 20th Street Northeast. Could I get a bit more detail on what that is?
Eric, maybe I'll let you take that, but I'll read out, I think, the item that what Robin is referring to. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, the 5th item down, Main Street, 16th to 20th Street improvement and roundabout. multi-use path and street frontage in the roundabout in Main Street. You want to take that one, Eric, or you want me to?
I'll take a shot at it. Good evening, Robin. Thank you for joining us tonight. The city's plan is to improve Main Street from the Boys and Girls Club to Hartford Road, which is just north of the Chicken Drive-In. That total project is 7.5 million, and it does include a roundabout. So the 7.5 isn't just the roundabout. There is some right-of-way acquisition, which always drives the number up a little bit. The beauty of that is, I think you heard earlier, if you were on the call, that we did get a $2.5 million grant from PSRC, and now we just got initial funding from the legislature for part of that as well. So that project is partially funded, and it is scheduled for construction in 2023. So we're looking to go out to design this year and finalize the right-of-way acquisitions next year in the design, and then be out for construction in 2023. Does that answer your question, Robin?
Sort of. It sounds like it hasn't been designed yet, so I'd like to visualize what that's going to be. And it says on the document that it's $7,690,000.
Yeah, maybe I'll add a little bit more. So this is also identified in the sub-area plan of the downtown Lake Stevens. So this is kind of part of that vision, is to beautify Main Street. We do have some sort of a conceptual, but really no design engineering to share yet. Engineering plan.
Okay, thank you.
Just an estimate, engineering estimate, yes.
Great, thank you, Robin. Do we have any other citizens' comments for this public hearing? Okay, I'm not seeing any other hands raised, so I'll go ahead and close the public comments portion of the hearing. Do we have any further comments by staff?
One last thing to add, and Grace touched on it at the bottom of her staff report, is, we don't catch all of the projects every year when we do this. Sometimes something pops up. We get additional funding we didn't know about. So it is easy during the year to amend the plan and add things to it. So just keep that in mind. Grace noted that on the staff report. So this isn't like it can't be changed. We have added things in the past, come back mid-year and something popped up and we need to fix it, or additional funding for something came up that wasn't on the list and we've had to add it. So that is definitely an option that we can add and subtract things if needed.
Okay. Gene, did you have something?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I just wanted to expand on Robin's question a bit. The preliminary design that Grace spoke to, we've worked really hard to try and maintain the chicken, and I know that's important to everybody in the community. So the preliminary design is north of that. So if that question comes up, we're doing everything we can to preserve that business.
Well said.
Excellent. Perfect. So with that, any other questions? Okay, do we have any discussion or deliberation by the city council members on this TIB? Seeing and hearing none, I'll go ahead and close the public hearing and I'll request a council action.
Mr. Mayor, I move to approve resolution number 2021-05, approving the TIP, 6-year TIP.
Second.
Second.
I have a motion on the floor to approve the 6-year TIP, and I appreciate it. Is there any discussion? Hearing no discussion, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? All right, great work, Grace and Eric. Good job on that. We'll keep the city moving forward and making sure that we can get our little feet around and our cars around, and maybe a horse if you got one somewhere. Okay. All right.
Thank you, Mayor and Council.
You bet. Let's go ahead and move forward with an action item, and that is approval for a police department reorganization, creating a deputy chief position by eliminating one of two police commander positions. Chief, you're up.
Mayor, City Council, appreciate the opportunity to present to you tonight. I'll try to be brief because you've seen the staff report and the materials that I provided. And I also sent an email a little bit earlier today. I hope you had an opportunity to see that. So I started here just shy of about 5 years ago. And at the time, there was no command staff at the time. So in working with the city at the time, we created two commanders to create the command staff. And at the time that worked very well. But as we've grown, the functions have changed. And so it's made me want to reevaluate how we set up the command staff. In particular, at the time, the operations commander supervised both the patrol and the detectives. But as we've gone down the road, we've seen that there's much more need for an operational supervision of the patrol division, being the largest by far division in the patrol division. So we've actually removed the operations commander from the detective role and now just oversees the patrol division. And then also we have, of course, the special services division supervised by the special services commander, and then the administrative manager who functions the business functions of the department. And so what that really has caused, and it's worked well because the staff members in those positions are great, but it takes a lot of work to coordinate all of the activities of the department. And that's the piece right now that is missing. So my role in eliminating one of the commander's positions and creating the deputy chief is basically to have that role fill what would be a COO, or in the military, an executive officer. Someone who's running the day-to-day operations of the department and coordinating all of those activities to make sure they're coordinated to fit our strategic plan and what our goals into the future are. And I've put all these reasons into and a chart showing the proposed plan into my staff report. So again, I won't go over all of that. But the second piece of this is, how will this be funded? I know that was a question I had. So my goal this year is to give the deputy chief a 5% increase just to acknowledge their supervisory role over the other commander. And that would be about $4,300 for 2021. Now, we have several open positions right now in the police department. So I'm not asking for additional money from the city. That would be funded through our base budget. Then what we would do going into the 2022 budget cycle is we do a more comprehensive study and look at the other commander position and other ways that we can save some money to make it as cost neutral as possible. And then we would present that to the council through the budget process, so there would be a clear understanding fiscally of what that would mean going forward. And so really, one of the ways to, I guess, make this more clear is to request that this position be an interim position for 6 months, so that we then have the opportunity to gather all of the information, so that when we come back to the council in that period of time, we can make a presentation showing all of the command staff and how that would be compensated, so that the council would then have a very clear idea of fiscally what that would mean going forward. I think, as we have tried to do in the past with the special services sergeant and the administrative assistant, we've tried to do that without adding FTEs and just reorganizing the department. So my goal in this, trying to be fiscally responsible, would be to do what we can to try to minimize any cost increase from that deputy chief position. And we have a few ideas, but I'd like to get that position in place so we can start to look at those. And so that when we do come with a full plan, my hope that would be close to cost neutral. So I'd be happy to take any questions.
I guess I don't have a question, Chief, just a comment. I want to thank you for clarifying that with the interim position. I think that's great that we'll have the opportunity to better understand the fiscal impacts of that. And I know you've made significant effort to make sure that it is cost neutral. So I want to thank you for that. And I like the idea of the org structure being changed to have, recognize and be flexible with the growing needs of the police department. So thank you for that.
Thank you.
I also just have a comment. I really appreciated the thoroughness of the staff report and the justification of moving in this direction. I think it makes really good sense. I think that as we grow and diversify, we need a structure that meets the needs of the city. And I feel like you've made that case, and I fully support moving in this direction.
Thank you.
I do as well. I'm sorry.
Nope, go ahead.
I do as well, just to say that your clarification that you sent in your email was very helpful, and certainly support this.
Chief, I was looking at the organizational structure, and I'm going to echo what everybody else has already said. Thank you for taking time to look at the organizational structure and, working to address all the concerns that obviously arise anytime there's a change in elevating positions and looking at the fiscal impacts. Thinking downstream, looking at your organizational chart, which does a great job for anyone who kind of does the geek thing over organizational structure. The way you've distributed span of control is like textbook. I do have a question about your support services and moving forward. Just recognizing, I can tell that you are a student of organizational structure and kind of follow that 3 to 5 is 3 to 7 is kind of the goal and 5 is the ideal. You mirror that throughout your organizational structure that you're proposing with this change. And with the support services sergeant section in that individual's support staffing, they're right at that upper link. So how long do you project before you may have to come back with a proposed change to that piece of your organizational structure as well?
Well, I appreciate I'm a bit of a geek on that area too, so I appreciate that. And you are correct. That person is the top level. One thing that we can do is look at some of the other supervisors and to make sure that there's some balance. So it might be a possibility going forward to move some of those responsibilities. I would not want to do it in the patrol side, because one of the purposes of that special services sergeant was to take administrative roles away from the patrol sergeant specifically. But for instance, perhaps the detective sergeant, or as we move forward with the patrol commander, is it possible to move some of those? But I do recognize that that's the top level. I would not, especially in the short term, I won't be recommending any other command level or administrative type positions. Any positions I request in the immediate future would all be operational. But I do recognize that is near the top level there.
Great presentation. Thank you for all your hard work. Definitely support this moving forward.
I'm just going to jump in real quick. Chief, great leadership as always. You might say geekiness, whatever you might have to the org charts and stuff, but it's a little bit more vision, I think, and always looking how to improve our organization. As everyone knows in Lake Stevens, we have a great policing department, our community, that I think everyone can get behind. And thank you for your leadership, and I look forward to your vision as we move forward.
I'd also echo what most people said. I do have a question for you on your organizational chart, though.
Sure.
Under your support services sergeant, you have the evidence technician. I'm not a police officer. I'm not in your role. I have no idea. But why isn't the evidence technician in the administrative managers in an administrative function? I mean, it's even color coded that way.
Well, it is. It's under the support services, which is typically what evidence would be. But that is one of the areas. That's a possibility to move that position to the detective sergeant.
Okay.
So that's a possibility, as Councilmember Frederick pointed out.
So that's not really an administrative function. That's more of a function of operations.
It is. They deal more directly with operations than administratively. So that's one of the areas that we'll look to move.
Okay, I think that actually answered my question that way, is because I just didn't understand, I guess, how it melds in with your organization and who is actually using that evidence technician and who's not. I looked at it as probably being administrative, but I guess
And one of the side functions of the evidence technician is we've actually sent her to schools to do help with crime scene processing. So she will work with the detectives, often come out to scenes to do processing as well and collect evidence.
Okay, that makes more sense. Thank you.
All right, great. Can I get a motion on this action item?
I move to approve Chief Dyer's recommendation that the structure of our Lake Stevens Police Department be amended as suggested in his staff report.
Second.
All right, perfect. I have an
question, Mayor, if I can interrupt you. So the recommendation, the staff report didn't include on an interim basis. And so in his oral presentation, you mentioned for a 6-month interim. So I just want to make sure clear what we are we're voting on. We're making a motion on, I guess.
I mean, the interim one would give me an opportunity to make sure that the council's making a permanent decision later down the road, knowing all of the financial things going forward. So that's what I would propose.
Andy, do you want to make a amendment to your motion to make it an interim?
I do. I was just reviewing the staff report. I thought I had read that somewhere, but
I think that was in his report that he sent us in his email.
Oh, okay. Thank you. I appreciate that. I thought I was missing something. So yes, I'd like to amend the motion that this change be interim through the end of the year to be reviewed again for the 2022 budget.
And I second the amendment, or else Sean does.
Okay, so let's do it this way. So I have a motion on the floor and a second that would allow the chief to change the police structure to include a deputy chief position. And then I have an amendment on the floor to that motion that would designate it as an interim position for 6 months. Does that sound right?
It's actually the same motion. It's only one motion. She amended her motion. So it's just the one motion.
Well, no, we have an amendment to a motion needs to be voted on separately than the original motion.
Greg?
By the time Greg tells us, we can vote twice and be done.
Yeah, I guess you're right. But I think if it's the original person making the motion, they can amend it without going back to the original.
That's thought.
Hey, it's accepted. I think it's accepted as a friendly amendment by everyone. And if so, proceed.
Excellent.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? There you go. You got an interim chief.
Excellent. All right. So with that, we come to an end of this meeting on this such great day.
I have one thing I'd like to please indulge me with. When I talked about the Youth Advisory Council being with us tonight, I neglected to see that we had another youth from that organization. Jack Johnson had also been there. I just didn't see his name. So we had two people on there that came in to see how we do business. Hopefully they learned something.
Yeah, good to have them here.
Mayor, could I just add one more thing before we adjourn? If I may not be out of line, I do think we need a quick happy birthday song.
See y'all later. It was nice to see y'all.
Are we ready?
Yep.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Mayor
Mayor.
Haley. Happy birthday
to
you and many
half a century
more.
of you.
None of us should quit our day jobs.
Years.
And Mary didn't do it in Spanish.
Well, okay. No, I'm not
No,
doing
no,
it
no,
solo.
no, no.
No,
Move to adjourn. Move to adjourn.
Hey, well,
Second.
thank you very much, everybody. Appreciate it.
All right.
Thanks, Kelly.
Bye. Happy birthday.
Happy birthday, Mr.